Hi, my name is Aasim Cheena. I've been breakdancing, or breaking as we call it, for about 10 years. I started in high school, basically trying to impress a girl. After a very short time, a few weeks learning how to dance, I quickly fell in love with it, and I've been breaking ever since. I'm very excited to be here today. My crew and I were also very excited to be able to share our dance with you and talk and tell you about some of our thoughts and feelings about how we feel about our art form. I'm just going to talk a little bit about the history of breakdancing, where it came from, when it came, how it arose, some of the ups and downs through its history, and where it's going in the future. I know you guys are excited and anxious to see some breakdancing. Well, you're just going to have a little history lesson first. Breaking began in the 70s in the Bronx, New York. In fact, when soldiers returning home from Vietnam came back to the Bronx, they remarked that it looked like a war zone. Decrepit buildings, roads in disrepair, abandoned storefronts and warehouses. They'd seen war in Vietnam, and now when they returned home, it seemed like the same devastation had followed them. Out of the ashes of this Bronx in the 70s arose a new, vibrant art form, hip-hop, and from it, breakdancing as well. It all began in block parties, neighborhood block parties thrown by Africa Bambaataa in the 70s. He would drive around with his loudspeakers and would set them up in a neighborhood square, play the music, and youth would come, sing, dance, rap, and they would forget the troubles of their everyday life and get rid of their frustrations and feelings on the dance floor. During these parties, one of the main figures was a DJ named DJ Kool Herc. He arrived upon the idea of spinning two turntables simultaneously. What this allowed was continuous music to be playing on one turntable while you changed a record out on the other turntable. The music that they listened to in this era, the soul, funk, and disco jams, had breakdowns. These were breakbeats. And that means is that these records would have sequences in the music where the beat would break down into simplest beats. This is known as a breakdown or simply a break. During these breaks in the records, dancers would form into circles and show off dynamic dance moves inspired by James Brown, Fred Astaire, and the Isley Brothers, and so many more. Each dancer would try to one-up the other by showing more and more exciting new dance moves. B-boys were known as dancers to breaks. We would dance during the breaks of the records, and hence the name B-boy was coined. Every dancer would try to one-up the other dancer by doing more exciting, more dynamic, more powerful moves. And dancers searched around the world for more inspiration. They turned to martial arts, gymnastics, circus acrobats. They turned to jazz, ballet, martial arts, capoeira. The list goes on and on of the inspiration and influences. However, breakers wouldn't merely steal these moves. They wouldn't merely copy them verbatim. They would instead flip them. They would learn the move, digest them, and stamp their personal influences and experiences on the move. Thus, every move was slightly unique to that individual dancer. In hip-hop, as in breaking, creativity is prized above all else. So if you merely take a move, that's a major taboo. Now, as great as these parties were, when they finished, the harsh reality sunk back in. They lived in a city that was crumbling around them. They had bleak prospects, poor education. Many of them were born into dysfunctional families, and so it was very difficult for them to get ahead in life. Instead, they turned to hip-hop as an alternative. There were also gangs that were prevalent all over the place. They would terrorize local neighborhoods and the youth and force them to join their gangs. Breakdancing allowed an alternative to this gang violence. Instead of joining a gang, neighborhood youth would form a crew made up of their friends, families, siblings, and other neighbors. Instead of fighting rival gangs, rival crews would instead solve their differences through a battle, a head-to-head dance competition to see who was the best dancer out there. The judge would be the crowd or an audience looking nearby and would determine the victor. So you have to imagine the Bronx, pretty much a war zone in the 70s. Young youth with little education, no prospects. They had no role models or people to inspire them. And yet on their own, pretty much, they came with a way to break a vicious cycle of gangs, violence, and drugs. And that was hip-hop, and it was breaking. With such dynamic moves and so many positive values, it's no wonder that breaking spread across the country to major cities like New York, Chicago, LA, Miami, Las Vegas. It became popularized in the early 1980s with Hollywood movies such as Wild Style, Breaking, and Beach Street. They were toys of breakdancing, clothing. In fact, it soon became over-commercialized. You would have people selling cardboard boxes, pawning them off as street dance floors. Breakdancing seemed more and more like a fad. It rose to popularity very quickly, and it was destined to fail. In fact, it almost did. Stories began circulating about kids seriously hurting themselves while breakdancing. The media was quick to pick up on these stories and sensationalize them, saying that breakdancing was dangerous and youth would get hurt. The average person would hear the name breakdancing and say, of course, you're breaking while you're dancing, you're breaking your body. They would see us do incredible moves like spinning on your head or doing flips while standing on concrete sidewalks, and they would assume the worst. Without testing the credibility of these news reports, they believed them, and that's when breakdancing lost its popularity in the 80s. It didn't die out, however. It stayed alive with passionate and dedicated dancers from New York and LA. Crews such as the Rocksteady Crew, crews such as Wild Style, Footwork Fanatics, and Style Elements maintained the fire of the dance. It soon was apparent that something more was needed. At this time, they began forming local battles, local competitions in which different crews would have a head-to-head competition, and this went on for several years. The major revitalization of breakdancing happened with the arrival of the internet. Once the internet came, b-boys could connect with one another across the world. In fact, today, I can go online, I can go on bboyworld.com, I can go on an online message forum, and I can find any event around the world. Let's say I want to travel to New York. Well, I can go online, I can find an event anywhere in New York at that time. I can meet and connect with dancers. I can go there, compete, I can go and jam, I can dance, connect with people. Afterwards, we can connect through Facebook, Google+, social media. That's really what's empowered breakdancers today. Anybody can learn how to dance by going on YouTube and watching videos. I can watch a video from any event, any place on the planet, basically within a week. This new power of technology and the internet has really enabled breakdancing to reach a wide audience like never before. Now you have b-boys in places, of course, like America, but Japan, South Korea, France, Italy, Finland, Omaha, Nebraska, b-boys all over the world, dancers sharing their love of their art form. Breakdancing is a very, very young art form. It started late 70s, and it's only been around for about 30 years. With so many new technologies and tools enabling us, breakdancing has a very bright future ahead.
When I first started breakdancing in '05, it was all about the big moves, the flashy style, and all the cool stuff that everybody gave you respect for. But as I kept on breaking, I grew a love for it because it gave me an area of life that I never even saw before. It gave me freedom and a way to express myself. And it kind of empowered me to the point to who I am today. And honestly, I have to say breakdancing has made me. I am breakdancing.
Omaha has always been a diverse cultural hub in the middle of the United States, but we want to show that there's more than that. There's so many diverse personalities and just artistic styles in Omaha. We want to bring them all to the table.
We are looking forward to having the opportunity to train the next generation of kids and adults and whoever else wants to learn how to breakdance, because there is so much they can learn about it and so much they can find out about themselves that will keep them out of trouble, give them something to aspire to, and in the end, like, make a better community, a better society for all of us to live in.
Hello, my name is Janel Scott, and I am the dance director at the Basement Hip Hop Dance Studio right here in Omaha. I'm here to talk to you a little bit about the Omaha breakdancers. Aasim touched on the history of breakdancing and how it started on the East and West Coast, but I want to tell you a little bit about our dancers here in Omaha. I wanted to let you guys know that the breakdancers here in Omaha are very, very dedicated dancers. Some of them train between 4 and 6 hours a day, preparing for their next battle. They are men, women, and children between the ages of 13 and 30. They are military personnel. They are lawyers. They are students. They are photographers. They are directors. As you guys can see, John directed a really awesome film. They are a little bit of everything. They're your brothers, they're your sisters, they're your neighbors, they're your friends. Omaha B-Boys are definitely unique in the fact that they represent you guys here in Omaha, almost like a professional sports team. They travel around to different places throughout the United States and battle to bring a title back home for you guys here in Omaha. So they've been to literally everywhere from New York to Texas, Boston, and they represent you, Omaha, so that's pretty neat. What do the Omaha B-Boys do for the community? The Omaha B-Boys and B-Girls, they have an initiative program through a few local church groups, community programs. They also have something called the Culture Shock School Tour. They go around to different schools here in the Omaha area and talk about the history of hip-hop, how the culture came to be, and then they do exhibitions for the kids, and the kids just love it. If you ever get a chance to see it at your local school, your children's school, definitely go. It's worth the see to go check out the Culture Shock School Tour. The Omaha B-Boys and B-Girls also do lots of non-for-profit festivals and shows. So if you guys want to spice up your non-for-profit festival, definitely give the Omaha B-Boys a call. They would love to do. They love doing gigs and showing people what it is exactly that they are. Where's the future headed for the Omaha B-Boys and B-Girls? Currently, right now, there's a few crews working with the Omaha Public School District to try to initiate a program for after school for kids who maybe don't have the opportunity to be able to go to a studio, maybe can't afford it. And they want to work with them to keep kids out of trouble and keep kids moving forward by trying to do breakdancing. It takes a lot of dedication, a lot of hard work, and sometimes kids need that work ethic. So we're really proud of our Omaha B-Boys, and I want you guys to get an opportunity to see them. So if you put your hands together, we're gonna go ahead and see them.
Every 3 years, an ancient ritual takes place here.
He is the creator and sustainer of all the worlds, whether those worlds are known or unknown to mankind. To mankind. To mankind. To mankind.
Every 3 years, an ancient ritual takes place here.
To mankind.
Every 3 years, an ancient ritual takes place